Hey, welcome back to Mulls on Missions, where we're the Mulls, and we're gonna keep telling you about our mission as we figure it out. Any comments, Anna?
That's why we're here.
Okay. So yeah, I'm Philip, she's Anna, we're the Mulls, and there you go, there's our backstory right there. That's the whole thing. Alright, so um normal format. We will have a silly question that we both answer. Then we will go to updates, and boy, do we have a lot to update you guys on.
So much.
Then we will end with basically what the Lord has been teaching us lately. So, Anna has the question prepared for today, which was prepared 5 minutes ago.
Not even.
Not even 5 minutes ago.
Probably 30
Hit
seconds
us with
ago.
it. I'll answer first, you'll answer second.
Okay, if you were a vegetable,
Ooh.
which one would it be
And why?
and why? Well, naturally.
I would probably be broccoli. No, sorry, not broccoli. Asparagus. Sorry, that's the one I was looking for. I would be asparagus because they're tall, thin, and they cause gas.
Ah. It's good.
Which one would you be if you were a vegetable? If you were a VeggieTales character, what vegetable would you be?
My favorite was always Laura the carrot.
You'd want to be a carrot.
I feel like that fits.
Why does that fit?
Because they're
Because
tall and
reasons.
skinny and make your eyes good.
So you're complimenting your own eyesight?
That is correct. I guess I just did that.
Okay. Nice. You are good for your own eyes, is what you're saying? Something like that? Okay.
Something like that.
Nice. All right. Update time. So, yeah, lots has happened since the last time we gave an update. I don't even remember what was in the last update, except for, I'll be going to MAF in Spokane, Washington. Or, sorry, Moody, not MAF. What am I talking about? Moody Bible Institute, Spokane Aviation Division. I was going to be going there for
Spokane.
training.
It's Spokane.
There will be a poll on the podcast, so you can choose if it's pronounced Spokane or Spokane.
And if you are from Washington, your answer is everything.
It's final.
Yeah.
So it's not like if we ask a bunch of French people if we use the word hors d'oeuvre right. It's not like we can ask the world to weigh in on, is hors d'oeuvre the correct pronunciation? Like the French people just get to decide that?
I mean, because it's their language.
Yes.
Yes, they get to decide that.
Okay.
And the people in Washington, it's their state and theirs. I mean, it's like if we know that it's not Kissimmee, it's Kissimmee.
Well, sure, it's Kissimmee if you're a tourist.
But that's not what its name is.
That's true. Okay. I will probably lose this battle. And it's fine. I'm not really willing to die on this hill, so.
It's good. Don't die.
Sorry, I think I just coughed up my spleen. So, yes, I went to Moody in, where was it?
Spokane,
Washington. I was there for a week doing technical evaluation prep. It was very cold. There was snow on the ground when I got there. It didn't snow for the whole week I was there, but there was still snow on the ground when I left. So it never got warm enough to melt the snow. That was, I doubled the count of amount of times I have scraped ice off of a windshield. Yeah, so the refresher stuff was good.
You came back with all your fingers and toes, no frostbite.
Yep, no frostbite, even though I spent half a day hiking. Yep, that was a plus for sure. I am not built for the cold. I have zero insulation naturally, so it doesn't really work out very well. I stayed indoors in the warmth with at least 4 layers on at all times, even sleeping. So, But yeah, all the refresher stuff I got from them was really good. It was funny though. They were like, "Look, Philip, we just got to tell you, JAARS technical evaluation is absolutely the hardest technical evaluation. Like they will grill you, no matter if you're testing or you think you're off at lunch or even just going to the bathroom. Like they're watching you to see who you are. Like they're gonna find your breaking point." Just so they know what your breaking point is. I mean, like they really talked it up there of
Like it's boot camp or something.
yeah, like it's an interrogation, not a technical evaluation. So that made me really nervous, to be quite frank. So the next week or 2 weeks, yeah. So went to Moody for a week, got back, worked for a week. No, sorry, I worked for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Then we came up here. We're actually still in Waxhaw. We just finished all of the technical evaluation stuff. We're going to be driving home tomorrow.
For those who don't know, Waxhaw is in North Carolina. I don't think did we mention that?
No, probably not. Also, for those of you who don't know, a technical evaluation is basically a 2 week long interview where you get given projects and graded on those projects. So, yeah. So, 2 weeks work up here for 2 weeks ish, Wednesday to Wednesday. Which at first I was like, why'd you guys break it up into like, I have to take 2 weeks off for this for only 1 week of testing? But it was actually really nice to have a break, like a 2-day break in between the like quite intensive tests that you do. So that actually worked out pretty well. Those 2 days, I was bored, almost out of my mind. Not quite out of my mind, but pretty close.
For context, I left and took the car, so he was literally stuck here on JAARS campus.
Yep.
Well, I mean, I was gone for 5 days.
Yep.
Visiting family around. But,
So she took a road trip with her sisters and left me here. And I'll tell you what, the JAARS campus is a ghost town on Sunday. Like there's nothing, nowhere. No people, not hardly even squirrels. I think squirrels even took the day off up here. I mean, there's nothing. But yeah, so pretty intensive tests. And this is exactly what I did. I'm just kidding. I can't tell actually what exactly I do for the test. Because if I start to tell people exactly what they do for the test, then people prepare. And a lot of the things they're looking for on these tests is not just your technical skills or knowledge, but also how do you interact to these new scenarios that are not super common scenarios. Just like, are you creative? Can you figure stuff out? Do you know where to go to get proper information? So it pushed me. It pushed me quite a lot, actually. But on sitting down the first day we started testing, the guy John, who was kind of briefing us on what the week was going to be like, he was like, "Look, we've gotten this reputation for being really hard on everyone." It's like, we've been trying for the past several years to get past that reputation. And I was like, oh yeah, you guys totally still have that reputation. And just the look of despair on his face of like, like, I can't believe we can't get ahead of this thing. Which apparently, talking to people around here, the TEs used to be very serious. Like 10, 15 years ago. They have gotten significantly less, I don't know what the word would be, strict or impersonal.
Strenuous?
I guess. Like, the tests are still hard. The things you're being asked to do haven't changed, but the way people are interacting with you.
Less formal?
Not even formal, because it was still pretty formal.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what's a good way to say. It's not like a formal thing. It's like a making you feel like you're under the spotlight all the time. Like I did not really feel like I was under the spotlight all the time, and absolutely everything I did was being meticulously examined, and people were pretty friendly. Still, if I asked a question and they're like, I'm not supposed to answer that, or if I asked for feedback, they're like, we're not supposed to give that until the end. So like, there is still you don't really know how you're doing as you progress. You're just supposed to finish the project, move to the next project. But yeah. So today was the debrief. So 2 weeks of testing and not knowing if they're liking what they're seeing, not liking what they're seeing. So today we sat down with the crew who was praying through, talking it through. I mean, they met like that meeting was, I think, the first thing they started with, pretty much the first thing they started with. We didn't see them until 1. Like, they didn't call us in until after lunch.
8:30-ish.
Yeah, so
this morning. And
several hours of them talking through their evaluations, the different examiners who were with me, talking through, do they think we're a good fit personality-wise with the organization?
To be clear, we're assuming this is what they talked about because we were not.
That's true. We were not in this meeting.
We were sitting on pins and needles.
Yeah, a little bit. We went to the Alphabet Museum again, which, if you're ever in Waxhaw, North Carolina, or if you're ever just driving through North Carolina, make a detour to the Alphabet Museum here at the JAARS Center.
So cool.
It looks like a teeny tiny Walgreens-sized building, and you're like, I can't imagine what would be so cool about that as a museum, but you're going to spend like at least 2 hours in there.
Because I've clocked 4.5 now in my last 2 visits.
Yep. And you still haven't finished it.
No, but it's highly immersive.
Yeah.
And gives you a lot of history on just language development from cuneiform at the very beginning of written language to where it is today, and in all different cultures. So you have different artwork on the walls from different cultures and countries, and you have examples of all the alphabets used and writing samples, and then obviously the explanations for all of them. But yeah, it's very immersive. It's very cool.
Yeah.
I would just sit in one of the room, set myself down in front of one of the panels that has the writing samples and the alphabet and an explanation of how it works. And I would sit there for probably 40 minutes, like trying to decipher it before moving on to the next one. So,
what's the coolest thing you've learned at the Alphabet Museum so far?
Learning about the Arabic script. And how that works, because you look at it and it just looks like artwork. It's like, how does this carry meaning? And then also how vowels work within that. But this time around, I was able to appreciate it more, like the diversity of writing systems. So from, like, we write in letters that go from left to right across the page, top to bottom. You go to Chinese, and it is not letters. There are no letters. And so you've got words that go top to bottom, right to left. Yeah. So completely different. And then learning about Thai, like the Thai and Indian scripts. That was where I was at for most of today. How they actually their words go from the center outward. So their vowels actually will go like on the top or the bottom or left or right. Like you start from the center consonant and the vowels are placed around the consonant. And it's like you just opening my eyes to the different systems that were invented, if you start with a blank slate and no previous knowledge, all the different ways that it could happen.
I thought it was, so, which North American tribe? Cree?
Cree.
The Cree, there was a missionary who came and made a Cree alphabet for the people, and he made it in such like an intuitive and simple way that you could be taught the alphabet in a day.
And yeah, and the entire Cree Nation, men, women, and children became literate because of that. It was phenomenal.
Yeah.
I loved that. Yeah, that was really cool.
I think the favorite thing that I've learned so far, and this probably because my mind works more on like building things and material stuff than language. Most of the language I was like, Anna, just tell me what you're understanding, because I look at this and it's just like words. I don't understand. It was in the Thai and Indian room. And it was how letter structure changed
Like
because
the actual
of
strokes.
so like the shapes of the letters changed because of the material they were having to write on. You couldn't do straight lines on that material or else it would split or break the material.
Yeah.
So you had to do rounded type lines.
Versus someone who's writing on wood.
Yeah.
Curved lines are not going to flow at all. So you got to do more chisel strokes.
Yeah. So just thinking like, oh, whatever materials you have to work with changes fundamentally the way your writing system is going to function.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really cool. It is so cool. Even if you have no interest in linguistics or alphabet systems, just the immersiveness of it. You get to listen to scripture being read in different languages. I listened to it was Psalm 23 read in Cherokee. It was so cool.
Yeah.
And they've got history all over the place. They even have a like deaf and sign language room. They've got Braille. So they really cover everything.
Yeah,
and
they do.
Beautiful. Like just the decorations they've got.
Yeah,
it's just well presented.
They've also got this like basically family tree of languages, and it's very fun to see because you see like basically most, if not all, the languages you know of are on this one like lightning splintering thing. You know, there are a few shoots that go up a little bit for languages that started and then died out or got taken over. And then all the way on the right, you just have Chinese, which is just this one individual shoot that like goes all the way through the centuries until eventually like I think Korean splits off of it or something like that. So just saying like you have all this development in all these languages, and then there's just been Chinese, which is just this like
remained
constant thing throughout the ages.
Yeah.
Language is very cool.
And I'm holding back. I could say so much more.
Yeah, but if you're gonna go, take Anna with you because she'll explain it all because she understands it now.
Yeah, I understand everything now.
Yeah, I mean you've basically memorized the 75% of the museum that you've been through.
Yeah, no. Not even close.
Where did we even get off on this tangent? Oh, okay. So we sat down with people today to talk about how I did in the TE.
Yes.
As soon as we sat down, Steve Bevelheimer, I think I'm pronouncing that right. If you're listening, Steve, and I totally botched it, I'm sorry. But Steve immediately was like, all right, Philip, you're in, you passed. I just want to get that out of the way because I'm sure you guys are like antsy about it.
That's all you care about?
Yeah. And then he described you've passed and you're in with stipulations. So I thought it was quite funny. They were like, Philip, we're going to have to do things kind of backwards with you. You know how to do a lot of stuff, but you don't know the theory. So it's
you don't know why.
It's like we can give you a job and you can do a job. But yeah, you don't that affects me in the troubleshooting aspect just because I don't know really how all these things work together or the theories behind how it's supposed to work. So it's been a lot of trial and error for me learning thus far. So really they're just going to want me to hang around an extra 6 months or so after our orientation, after we've done our fundraising, to get a lot of that theory and extra training that I would need before going to the field.
Yeah. And that would happen here
in
North Carolina.
Yep.
On the JAARS campus.
Yep. So working in their shop with their mechanics and, doing some studying in the evening or study days planned for me or something. I don't really know how it looks, but it'd be tailored to kind of what they think I need for my training. And then we'd get me some extra cred and extra learning, which I was actually like kind of really hoping that they would have me back for they call it the JAARS program. And I don't entirely know what that stands for, but it's basically their like extended learning. We really like you, but you're not quite there with the knowledge. Mm-hmm. So we're going to get you there with the knowledge. I was actually kind of hoping for that because I'm like, I don't quite feel ready. Like, I feel like I can do some stuff, but
I feel like it was this test, like, because it pushed you to the limits of your knowledge, you were able to appreciate just where the limits of your knowledge are, and you being you and loving learning are not satisfied with the limits of your knowledge and want more. So naturally you're going to be excited about more knowledge and more learning.
And everyone I've met here is like they were basically teaching me stuff the whole time. Part of that was just to see like how receptive am I to learning. But I was just eating it up, man.
They put that they said so they have to create a formalized basically letter of recommendation for Wycliffe to say, hey, he's met our standards. We recommend him to be a part of the team. And they said, we tried to figure out a way to sum up just how enthusiastic he is about learning, how much you love learning, and
so like we couldn't find a formal term for that.
Yeah, so I think they put eager to learn as one of your strengths, but they said we couldn't figure out a way that was professional sounding enough to put it in the letter, but we're going to communicate that to you now. We love how much you love learning. So
that was encouraging.
I
for me.
loved hearing them like talk about you because
I will say, so
really good.
Something that I did not do, something that I really missed on one of the tests. It's basically like they bring you to an airplane and they say, inspect it and give us your feedback. And one of like the gimmies is they'll shove a rag somewhere.
Like a cleaning rag.
I feel like I found everything on that plane except the freaking rag. I missed the rag. I was so upset. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the first thing you said to me when I called you that day, I was like, so how did it go today? You said, I missed a rag.
Yep.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
That was how you summed up the day. I missed a rag.
Yep. That ate me up a little bit, but we survived. We're in.
You're in.
Yeah, so next steps for us, we start an application with Wycliffe, because the way all these things work, we're actually going to be technically working for Wycliffe, and then we'll be under JAARS. It's all a little wonky sounding, but that's the legal structure that they had to do to accomplish what they're wanting to accomplish. So it's like, it's legit, it's been around for forever. Just sounds weird to be like, oh, we're actually with this group, but we work for this group, and we're going to be getting sent to a missions field under this group. But it's all under the one group still. It's like sister organizations, basically.
Yeah, it was all started by the same man.
Yeah.
To accomplish the same purpose.
Yeah.
But through different
just for
entities.
Like legal reasons, you have to set up different companies to do the different functions. And
yeah.
So next steps for us, start finishing that application. We were given the 5 different assignments that we could accept, which we will be praying through, seeking counsel from, parents, mentors, people from our church. That'll be hopefully in a coming update. Hopefully pretty soon we'll have an idea of what we're going to do within the next month or so.
Yeah, the process to onboard as Wycliffe members is like a 3-month process.
It was 4 to
6
6 weeks. So it's like 2 months.
But they meet every quarter.
True, yeah.
Now,
They meet to approve their oncoming members every quarter. So
depending on where we fall in the quarter,
yeah.
It could.
So we won't be official for at least a month or two, couple months.
Yeah.
But we should have more or less picked a spot by then, or before we officially get onboarded. Just because, like, once we're onboarded, it's fundraising time, and you need to know where you're going in order to start fundraising. So
yeah, and orientation and the JADO program, all of that happens after we've fundraised enough to move up here, stop working at our current jobs. Yeah, so that's going to be a little bit down the line too.
Yeah, so, and they give you 2 years max to do your fundraising. So hopefully it won't take us 2 years to get the fundraising, but we'll see. It's all a bunch of unknowns, and gonna try to make it work and all that jazz. Yeah. So yeah, big stuff to come. But that's our update. So we're officially past the JAARS application-y testing phase. And I haven't heard of anyone getting through that phase and then not getting through the Wycliffe application as well. So that I'm not going to say is a gimme. And then,
or a guarantee.
Yeah, and then, eat those words later. But as far as I understand, we're pretty set to keep moving forward. Anything you want to add?
No, I think we covered it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Now on to the next portion. So here we talk about what the Lord's been teaching us lately. Anna, what's the Lord been teaching you lately?
So I have been in Leviticus.
Ooh.
In my reading. Y'all, it's riveting. It's just so great. Actually, it's very cool. I just need a lot of outside resources. I can't get it straight from the Bible a lot of times. But I've been recognizing more and more how much a gift worship is. And just thinking about, like, enjoying the Lord's presence. And we recently had a worship time, and we were just kind of meditating on what praise is. And there's a quote by C.S. Lewis that I can't quote the entire thing because it's paragraphs long, but the essential theme is that praise is the completion of enjoyment. Like, you cannot fully enjoy something until you've expressed it. If you imagine you've found a new book, an author that you just love, you're going to talk about it. You're going to praise the author's work. If you see, like, you can understand this. I see a sunset. I cannot keep silent. I have to at the very least,
it's involuntary,
gasp and say how beautiful it is. And usually I do a lot of that.
Same with baby cows.
Yes.
Or goats.
Just it can be anything. We're constantly praising anything that we find enjoyable, because praise is it's kind of the clincher. It completes the enjoyment, and you can't fully enjoy something unless you can praise it, unless you can vocalize it. So that's been just cool to meditate on and watch what worship and praise look like. I mean, through sacrifices and through all the systems that God lays out, from a surface level and from 21st century American me, seems very foreign, but recognizing just what a gift it was that He made it possible for us for the people of Israel to, like, come near. is really cool. Also, learning about the tabernacle structure and how it's all supposed to symbolize Eden and the garden, and it's a picture of, so the temple's always, or the tabernacle's always facing the east. So if people coming enter in, they're walking west. So east is the going east is the imagery of exile. Adam and Eve left the garden and moved east. And so it's like that picture of, if you're coming into the presence of God, you are exiting exile and entering the garden.
Yeah.
You're entering where things
Coming back home.
are whole again. So, yeah, so that's where I've been at recently, and just loving it. Just loving it. But my interactions with the Lord have actually been a lot more laying on my back and staring at the ceiling and just being with the Lord. Not like the expressiveness has actually been lesser of late because I've been so tired.
Yeah.
And just kind of worn out from everything, and just being able to sit or lay down, honestly. And I listen and he listens, and there's not a whole lot of talking going on, and we're just together, and that's so precious too.
Yeah.
So it's also a contrast. I'm learning all about praise, and there's not a whole lot of that happening in my interactions with him yet, but I know he's highlighting it for a reason. So
that's awesome. Yeah. So
God's pretty cool.
What you mentioned other resources that you're using to help you understand Leviticus.
Guys, the Bible Project app is so cool.
That's the one?
That's the one.
That's the one?
That's the main one, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bible Project app.
The Bible their podcasts are phenomenal. They've got blog posts. They also section out. They have different themes that they explore, and they section out in the app. So if you're reading through Leviticus, they highlight certain themes that are prevalent in Leviticus, and they explain them from a historical standpoint, from a pattern standpoint. Like, look, it's calling back from Genesis and Exodus and pulling it forward. And then if you look further on, they're just a lot more knowledgeable than I am. So also they do word studies and go into what the meaning of the words are, and I thrive on that. So yeah, it's a great resource. Totally recommend.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice. I guess I'll go now. I have been in Deuteronomy. So we're both rocking those Torah books. And I have been freaking loving Deuteronomy. I didn't realize how dynamic that book was. Like, you've got history stuff in there. You've got like laws. You've got sort of like prophetic declarations from the Lord and him speaking to his people. It's not all just like, and here is this law that you must follow, and here is this law that you must follow. But it's like, I don't know. There's a lot of variety in it, which I enjoy. Probably the best, or my favorite thing that I've read so far that I'm really wanting to go back to once I finish is Deuteronomy 14 and 15, and how those two basically set a picture for, hey, if you set up society like this, there's not going to be any poor people. Because, and it's like some of the things that are in those passages are every Sabbath year, so every seventh year, all debts are canceled. So you don't have this whole compounding debts that you get under and then your family's under, and generations after you are just stuck in this cycle. It's like, no, we're going to do something actively as a community to combat that like cyclical poverty situation. So you get a reset every 7 years. Anyone who's a slave, who's a Jew, is set free every 7 years. And not just like, all right, you're turned out on the street, you're free now, but you are furnished with like what you need when you leave. It's not just, all right, you're free now, go and do whatever you want. It's, oh, here are things to sustain you as you go out from this place. So just those pictures and those ideas of the community is living together, working together, and then also has these extra things they're doing to look after the, widows, the orphans, those who are poor. I mean, the tithe was collected every 3 years, I think, and its purpose was just to feed and sustain the priests and feed and sustain the orphans and the widows and those who weren't able to, make do for themselves. And so you just have these things that the Lord is building into the community of his people that are meant to like combat the normal like monopolizing or structures that are going to enfranchise some people and disenfranchise other people. So I loved reading that, and I want to dive in more to see like what else does this book have as far as just describing a way of life in a community that is meant to build people up and is meant for the benefit of all. So yeah, everyone's like, Old Testament God, he's just mean and angry all the time. It's like, no, he's actually pretty cool. Except he does harp on the Israelites a little bit when he's like, I just want you guys to know, I am not giving you this land and showing you my favor because you're better than other people. I am giving you this land and showing you this favor because the people in this land are really terrible. It's like, okay, so that's kind of like hard to have a big head and be super proud when your word from the Lord, who is winning all the battles for you, is, no, you're actually not that great. It's mostly just because how terrible these other people are. It's like, that's kind of humbling. But yeah, that's what I've been in. Deuteronomy, all the way. Read it. It's awesome. You have anything to end on? No?
No.
You're just tired. You're ready for bed.
I am. It's almost 10.
Is it really? Oh, and I've only got 20% battery left. Okay, we love you guys.
We love you guys.
We will
Thanks
give
for
you
listening.
updates soon, hopefully. And
Yeah.
Have a good rest of your day.
Be blessed.
Or night. Or morning. Or whenever it is. Okay, goodbye.
Bye.